The Buffalo Bills are a professional American football team based in the Buffalo Niagara Falls metropolitan area. They compete in the National Football League as a member club of the league's American Football Conference East Division. The team plays its home games at Bills Stadium in Orchard Park, New York. The Bills are the only NFL team that plays its home games in the state of New York. The Bills conduct summer training camp at St. John Fisher College in Pittsford, New York, an eastern suburb of Rochester. The Bills began play as an original franchise of the American Football League in 1960. The club joined the NFL as a result of the AFL-NFL merger for the 1970 season. The 1964 and 1965 Bills were the only teams representing Buffalo that won Major League Professional Sports Championships, back-to-back American Football League championships. The Bills are the only team to win 4 consecutive conference championships and are the only NFL team to lose 4 consecutive Super Bowl games. The team was owned by Ralph Wilson from the team's founding in 1960 until his death in 2014 at the age of 95. After his death, Wilson's estate reached an agreement to sell the team to Terry and Kim Pegula, which was approved by the other NFL team owners on October 8, 2014. The Bills formerly possessed the longest active playoff drought in any of the 4 major professional sports in North America. They did not qualify to play in the NFL playoffs from 1999 until 2017 and were the last NFL team and last team in the major North American professional sports leagues overall to qualify for the playoffs in the 21st century. Since then, the Bills have reached the playoffs in 2 of the past 3 NFL seasons and also clinched their first 10-win season in 2 decades in December 2019. The Bills began competitive play in 1960 as a charter member of the American Football League, led by head coach Buster Ramsey, and joined the NFL as part of the AFL-NFL merger in 1970. The Bills won 2 consecutive American Football League titles in 1964 and 1965 with quarterback Jack Kemp and coach Lou Saban, but the club has yet to win a league championship since. Once the AFL-NFL merger took effect, the Bills became the second NFL team to represent the city. They followed the Buffalo All-Americans, a charter member of the league. Buffalo had been left out of the league since the All-Americans, by that point renamed the Bisons, folded in 1929. The Bills were no less than the 3rd professional non-NFL team to compete in the city before the merger, following the Indians Tigers of the early 1940s and an earlier team named the Bills, originally the Bisons, in the late 1940s in the All-America Football Conference. Following the AFL-NFL merger, the Bills were generally mediocre in the 1970s but featured All-Pro running back O.J. Simpson. After being pushed to the brink of failure in the mid-1980s, the collapse of the United States Football League and a series of highly drafted players such as Jim Kelly, who initially played for the USFL instead of the Bills, Thurman Thomas, Bruce Smith and Darryl Talley, allowed the Bills to rebuild into a perennial contender in the late 1980s through the mid-1990s, a period in which the team won 4 consecutive AFC championships. The team nevertheless lost all 4 subsequent Super Bowls, records in both categories that still stand. The rise of the division rival New England Patriots under Tom Brady, along with numerous failed attempts at rebuilding in the 2000s and 2010s, prevented the Bills from reaching the playoffs in 17 consecutive seasons between 2000 and 2016, a 17-year drought that was the longest active playoff drought in all major professional sports at the time. It was broken when the Bills secured a wild card berth on December 31, 2017. On October 8, 2014, Buffalo Sabres owners Terry and Kim Pegula received unanimous approval to acquire the Bills during the NFL owners' meetings, becoming the second ownership group of the team after team founder Ralph Wilson. In 1947, a contest was held to rename the AAFC Bisons, which was owned by James Brule of the Frontier Oil Company. The winning entry suggested Bills, reflecting on the famous Western frontiersman, Buffalo Bill Cody. Carrying the Frontier theme further, the winning contestant suggested that the team was being supported by Frontier Oil and therefore was opening a new frontier in sports in Western New York. When Buffalo joined the new American Football League in 1960, the name of the city's earlier pro football entry was adopted. The Bills' uniforms in its first 2 seasons were based on those of the Detroit Lions at the time. The team's original colors were Honolulu blue, silver and white, and the helmets were silver with no striping. There was no logo on the helmet, which displayed the players' numbers on each side. In 1962, the standing red bison was designated as the logo and took its place on a white helmet. In 1962, the team's colors also changed to red, white, and blue. The team switched to blue jerseys with red and white shoulder stripes, similar to those worn by the Buffalo Bison's all-hockey team of the same era. The helmets were white with a red center stripe. The jerseys again saw a change in 1964 when the shoulder stripes were replaced by a distinctive stripe pattern on the sleeves consisting of 4 stripes, 2 thicker inner stripes and 2 thinner outer stripes, all bordered by red piping. By 1965, red and blue center stripes were put on the helmets. The Bills introduced blue pants worn with the white jerseys in 1973, the last year of the standing Buffalo helmet. The blue pants remained through 1985. The face mask on the helmet was blue from 1974 through 1986 before changing to white. The standing Bison logo was replaced by a blue charging one with a red slanting stripe streaming from its horn. The newer emblem, which is still the primary one used by the franchise, was designed by aerospace designer Stevens Wright in 1974. In 1984, the helmet's shell color was changed from white to red, primarily to help Bills quarterback Joe Ferguson distinguish them more readily from 3 of their division rivals at that time, the Baltimore Colts, the Miami Dolphins, and the New England Patriots, who all also wore white helmets at that point. Ferguson said, "Everyone we played had white helmets at that time. Our new head coach Kay Stevenson just wanted to get more of a contrast on the field that may help spot a receiver down the field." The Patriots have worn silver helmets since 1993, the Colts have since been realigned to the AFC South, and in 2019, the New York Jets have since switched back to green-colored helmets after playing 20 years with white ones. In 2002, under the direction of general manager Tom Donahoe, the Bills' uniforms went through radical changes. A darker shade of blue was introduced as the main jersey color, and nickel gray was introduced as an accent color. Both the blue and white jerseys featured red side panels. The white jerseys included a dark blue shoulder yoke and royal blue numbers. The helmet remained primarily red with 1 navy blue, 2 nickel, 2 royal blue, 2 white stripes, and white face mask. A new logo, a stylized B consisting of 2 bullets and a more detailed buffalo head on top, was proposed and had been released. It can be seen on a few baseball caps that were released for sale, but fan backlash led to the team retaining the running Bison logo. The helmet logo adopted in 1974, a charging royal blue bison with a red streak, white horn and eyeball, remained unchanged. In 2005, the Bills revived the standing Bison helmet and uniform of the mid-1960s as a throwback uniform. The Bills usually wore the all-blue combination at home and the all-white combination on the road when not wearing the throwback uniforms. They stopped wearing blue on white after 2006, while the white on blue was not worn after 2007. For the 2011 season, the Bills unveiled a new uniform design, an updated rendition of the 1975-83 design. This change includes a return to the white helmets with charging Buffalo logo and a return to royal blue instead of navy. Buffalo sporadically wore white at home in the 1980s but stopped doing so before their Super Bowl years. On November 6, 2011, against the New York Jets, the Bills wore white at home for the first time since 1986. Since 2011, the Bills have worn white for a home game, either with their primary uniform or a throwback set. The Bills' uniform received minor alterations as part of the league's new uniform contract with Nike. The new Nike uniform was unveiled on April 3, 2012. On November 12, 2015, the Bills and the New York Jets became the first 2 teams to participate in the NFL's Color Rush uniform initiative, with Buffalo wearing an all-red combination for the first time in team history. A notable use of the Bills' uniforms outside of football was in the 2018 World Junior Ice Hockey Championships, when the United States men's national junior ice hockey team wore Bills-inspired uniforms in their outdoor game against Team Canada on December 29, 2017. The Bills have rivalries with their 3 AFC East opponents and also have had occasional or historical rivalries with other teams, such as the Baltimore Indianapolis Colts, a former divisional rival, Kansas City Chiefs, Houston Oilers, Tennessee Titans, Cleveland Browns, and Dallas Cowboys. They also play an annual preseason game against the Detroit Lions. Miami Dolphins. This is often considered Buffalo's most famous rivalry. Though the Bills and Dolphins both originated in the American Football League, the Dolphins did not start playing until 1966 as an expansion team, while the Bills were one of the original 8 teams. The rivalry first gained prominence when the Dolphins won every matchup against the Bills in the 1970s for an NFL record 20 straight wins against a single opponent. The Bills defeated the Dolphins in their first matchup of the 1980s. Fortunes changed in the following decades with the rise of Jim Kelly as Buffalo's franchise quarterback, and though Kelly and Dolphins quarterback Dan Marino shared a competitive rivalry in the 1980s and 1990s, the Bills became dominant in the 1990s. Things have since cooled down after the retirements of Kelly and Marino and the rise of the New England Patriots, but Miami remains a fierce rival of the Bills, coming in second place in a recent poll of Buffalo's primary rival, and the two teams have typically been close to each other in win-loss records. Miami leads the overall series 61-51 as of 2019, but Buffalo has the advantage in the playoffs at 3-1, including a win in the 1992 AFC Championship game. New England Patriots. The rivalry with the New England Patriots first started when both teams were original franchises in the American Football League prior to the NFL-AFL merger. After the rise of head coach Bill Belichick and quarterback Tom Brady in New England, the Patriots have dominated the AFC East, including the Bills. The Bills-Patriots rivalry in particular has become lopsided as the Patriots are 31-5 against the Bills since Belichick became head coach in 2000. This has led many fans and players in the 2000s and beyond to replace the Dolphins with the Patriots as Buffalo's most hated rival. Overall, the Patriots lead the series 76-43-1 as of 2019. The rivalry is also notable as numerous players, including Drew Bledsoe, Doug Flutie, Lawyer Milloy, Brandon Spikes, Scott Chandler, Chris Hogan, Mike Gillislee and Stephon Gilmore, have played for both teams at some point in their careers.